Oh, hi everybody. It's me, Jennifer, Stephouse, Little Metal Foxes. And we're going to be doing tool tips tonight. It's Tuesday, so join me if you will. And I've got Julia is going to join me this evening as well. I'm very excited. She is available tonight, so she's going to be jumping in here in just a second. But we're going to be talking about, hello everybody. Hi. So we're going to be talking about cup burrs tonight, and I've got one other tip that I wanted to throw at you. There's a lot of really great things that you can use cup burrs for, and I wanted to share that with you. Oh, Simon Dog's here tonight too. Hi, Simon. And I've got Julia. Let's see if I can find her here. Let's see. Come on, where are you? Oh, hi, Tammy. Hi, how are you? All right, and we've got, yes, a bunch of people joining us tonight. Thank you for popping in. Let's see if we can get Julia to join us live, and we will talk about cup burrs. One of the things, oh, there she is. Hello. Let's see if we can get her in here. And, oh, there she is, Julia. Come on in. Come on in.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Cold in my studio, so I'm putting on my sweater.
Okay. I'm so glad to see you.
I know. Likewise, I've missed you since our little retreat.
I know, and I love doing all of our little tool tips together.
I
Your
know.
studio
I know.
and mine. That's always fun.
It's way more fun when we're together.
I know. It's always fun. And yes, it was nice having Helen in town. She had come into town from London and joined us, and you guys
watched movies together.
I know. I was really glad she got to do tool tips with us last week because we were able, or week before last, because we were able to do it together here in my studio. She had just arrived, and last week we actually had the lovely Michelle from Lier Works join us to talk about our favorite tools for filigree, which we could have gone on for hours.
So much. Now I totally want the tweezers that she was like the Venus tweezers or something. I'm like, ooh, yeah. Venus tweezers.
Those
look. Now I have more tools I need to buy.
Oh yeah, always. Yes.
Always.
But I wanted to show you a couple of different cup burrs, and I know I talked about them before, but I was using them today, and I just had to say it again. I just was like, this has changed my world a little bit.
First, but I had the old ones that would clog up and get dull really quickly, and I'm like, okay, I understand the concept behind a cup burr is not difficult, right?
No.
I understand what it is supposed to do, but these are not doing that.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about cup burrs. For those of you that don't know what cup burrs are a burr that you would use in like a flex shaft, or you can do it by hand. A lot of people will put them in a handle, like a pin vise, and use it on the end of wires to round the end of the wire. So they're concave with teeth on the inside, and they're designed so that
like a cup.
Yep. So they cut on the inside and kind of pass the material up along the ridges in the burr. However, which are great. So I use this a lot for earring wires and, the ends of, like long earring wires when I'm making them, like those guys. So I just round the ends of those, and you don't have to sand them. You don't have to, polish them up a whole lot, because the cup burr usually puts a beautiful finish on it. But the thing that kind of changed my world, because I do this for production for Baleen, and we do a ton of earrings. If you go to their Instagram, I just did a whole soldering thing with one of their earrings. But the thing is, I'm usually finishing 100 wires at a time. and that's lots of
You do not want there to be any slowdown. You want to be like,
right,
and then move on.
Right.
So yeah,
that's exactly right. And it's just, I want to be able to do
that little noise
quickly and efficiently. Yeah, I do that. I make that noise. It's like whoop whoop when I'm covering. But this is also one of the tricks that I'm going to use in the production class and show you guys how to work smarter, not harder as well. So this is just one of the many things I want to share with you. But cut burrs, especially if you haven't used them before, for the ends of earring wires alone will change your world. But there's lots of other things you can use them for. The other thing that really kind of changed the way that I work with cut burrs is the twin cut burrs instead of the twin cut burrs instead of the standard cut burrs. So the standard cut burrs have the teeth on the inside and move the material up out of the teeth. But the twin cut have two sides and they have a cutting blade on the outside edge, and they cut like a pencil sharpener. And oh, is that satisfying. So there's no clogging of the inside of the burr. It just goes around the outside, and it is just like and peels around the outside of the wire that you're using. And it just makes these beautiful little like pencil sharpened edges in mostly sterling. That's what I'm working with. But oh, they're brilliant. So, but cool thing that I like to use it for is I've got ball wire that I really like using a lot. And how do you round the end of a ball? With a cut burr. So the cut burr fits right on it, and it makes the end of the ball perfect. So
it makes it a ball again.
It makes it a ball.
I love it.
It does. So even with like twisted wires, I've got a couple of earrings here that I've got, and the ends of heavier stuff like this. It just, you know, once you cut it, sand it, and then use that cut burr on it, it rocks your world. It happens so fast, and it happens in a way that makes it just absolutely lovely that you don't have to do a whole lot of additional cleanup. So I love them for
you could
that.
do all of that, but what that one thing does, you could do all of that with needle files and sanding stick, and it would take you easily 10 or 20 times longer.
Sure, it would. So what I've got it set up here. I've got my flex shaft set up.
Oh, I know. You have your amazing little flex shaft, you know, like the holder.
I love this holder. I really do. And I got to tell you, this is some of the best money I ever spent in the studio on this little holder because...
Yeah, but you know what, Jennifer? That is unobtainium. That's the problem. That's unobtainium. Unobtainium are tools that no longer are manufactured. You can't get that exact tool anymore.
You can get, they sell it. Rio sells it.
It's not the same one.
It's the plastic version of this, but
but it doesn't go up and down. It doesn't go up and down, I don't think.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah,
Internet world.
And I believe Fordham has it as well because it's made by Fordham. So, but yeah, you can get it from Rio. But having a holder like this, they also have, for those of you that are on a little bit more of a budget, they sell a Delrin plastic version.
I have one of those. Let me get it.
Really nice. Yeah, because those are really nice because they fit into universal vices and clamps that will hold on to it. So you don't have to have like that one. That's it. Yeah.
So this is the super simple version. It just has a slit in it, and you can put it in a vise, and it just holds your hand piece tightly.
Right.
So it doesn't go up and down or anything.
Well, only if your vise does.
Right. That's true. If your vise goes up and down, then it does. Yeah. But
so if you have
this is like $15.
Yeah.
So,
I think they're not even that much. I think they're closer under 10. I think with shipping it might be 15.
Exactly. Well, but if you're ordering other stuff, so it's a good starter piece, you know. Like I got this because I was like, I don't do as much of what you do as you do. Though I have to say that the one you have that goes up and down, you know, is just really sexy.
I do. I love this because it really turns my flex shaft into a lathe, you know, for all practical purposes. So yeah. And this is, I don't have this one at work. I actually use the Delrin version at work in like a little bench vise. Yeah, that's the one I'm using at work. So, you know, I mean, it's a great, cheap solution. And Helen's here. Oh my gosh. What? Let's see.
We have all the boxes.
Let's see if we can invite her to join. There we go. So, but yeah, you know, I put it in a universal vise and you can kind of tip it up or down to raise the height rather than using this one that has the Oh, she's in bed. She's not going to join us tonight. She's on London time.
She's on London time, and that's fair, right?
That's true.
Her husband is like, yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
You're not bringing the Instagram into the bedroom.
It is only 2 a.m, so go to sleep, Ellen. But so what I like to do here, I've got like the little ball wire, is always use a little bit of lube with your burrs. Use a little bit of, I like the Burr Life, and the Peppy has a really good burr butter or blade butter that is awesome for blades and for burrs.
Anytime you've got spinning metal cutting, you should be using lubricant, right? Like, drill bits, burrs, polishing. Of course, polishing, you're using the polishing compound, but
So I flush cut that on the end, and then just add a little bit of lube. And this is the right size cup to do this particular ball. So it rounds the end of the ball back into a ball. So
talk about the size, because I always get the size wrong too.
Oh yeah. So one of the things that you'll notice about cup burrs is they are actually measured on the outside of the cup. So when you're getting them, you have to order up. I usually go up like 0.25 millimeter if I've got a really specific size that I want, because I want it to fit just over whatever wire I'm using. And
they don't give you the interior diameter measurement. They give you the exterior, which totally threw me off as well.
So if you're trying to get a 2 millimeter wire done, you're going to need a cup burr that's between 2.25 or 2.5 to make it work for that particular wire. So you always have to order a size a little bit up from the actual wire you're finishing. So for the ball burr, this is 2.5, and my cup burr, I believe, is 2.9. Yeah, I think it's 2.9. So it's, almost a half a millimeter larger. So, but it's so satisfying to like make that little ball round. I love this thing. So, but for large gauge wire, it's great because you just flush cut the end, and then you can just take that edge off so it's not sharp. That's always great. And I love it for parts like this that I'm just sort of, wanting to smooth down the edge. I may not want to round it all the way. I just want to maybe take off that sharp edge a little bit so it's not jabby when you put it on.
If you're pushing your hair back, you don't scratch yourself on your earring,
or tear your face or something with the
tear your face off.
Tear your face off. But this is really nice because it just removes that edge and gives it a really uniform bevel, just around that top edge. So I really love it for that. But two other cool things that three other cool things that I really love this for. One, square wire. Square wire is a little sharp, and instead of using, your files and all that, using a cup burr that you can slip that square wire into the cup burr and just bevel those edges a little bit, and it makes it not sharp. You don't have to necessarily round it, although that can look really great too on some designs, having a nice rounded end on your square wire. And you do have to go significantly larger so that the burr fits on top of the square. But you don't want it just to bottom out, because then it's not doing anything. You need it to sort of sit in so that it cuts the edges.
It's only cutting. You're using the twin cut burrs, right? So it only cuts on the edges.
It cuts almost all the way to the bottom. It does cut almost all the way to the bottom. But with any of your wires, if they're sitting on the bottom, there's nothing at the bottom to cut. So you need it to be a little bit smaller so it catches the edge. But you do want it to fit in there relatively snugly. But it shouldn't go all the way to the bottom.
Well, and of course, with square wire is measured along one of the flat side dimensions, right? So 12 gauge square wire, for example, is actually like 14 gauge is the across the diagonal, and that's the dimension it has to fit inside your cup burr. Right. So that's the other piece. On top of the fact that the cup burr is measured on the outside diameter of the burr,
right?
You have to get, your square wire diameter thing figured out too. Yeah.
So yeah, so you want it to kind of fit over, oh, that end works. You want it to sit on top of the wire so that you can
Hmm.
turn it inside of the cup, but not so it's sitting on the bottom.
Right. Looks like that
So
one, that cupper is just barely the right size, or maybe even a little small for the wire you had in your hand.
it's perfect.
No,
It's
it's
actually
perfect.
perfect. Yeah.
You can't really
So,
see on the in this environment. You know, you can't
right.
see clearly enough to really be able to tell.
Yeah, because you really just want it to, like I said, kind of catch the edges. This is not a twin cut. This is a standard cut burr that I'm using
Oh,
right
okay.
now. That's a little bit bigger. The twin cuts only go up to a certain size, as do most of the cut burrs. But
Damn
you
it.
can actually you can get bigger cut burrs. And the thing that I was going to say, so for square wire, you know, it right rounds the end of the square wire beautifully. But the nice thing that the bigger cut burrs are good for is tubing. So when you're doing
Ooh.
a stone setting that, like a tube set, and you want to sort of bevel those edges, if it's
Oh,
especially if it's a heavy
perfect.
tube, especially if it's
Yeah.
heavy walled tubing, you kind of want to bevel those edges a little bit before you set it. And even for some round cabochons that are small as well, you may want to bevel that edge a little bit.
You have
The
less
cup,
material that you have to push over
yeah,
onto the stone.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you get a
yeah.
nice uniformly beveled edge. So instead of trying to file it perfectly all the way around, the
Because
cup burrs
who can
will,
do that? Yeah.
yeah, the cup burr. So one of the things that I always tell my students that, you know, when we're talking about demystifying burrs is that, you know, burrs are just rotary files. They work just like files do, but instead of like pushing forward, it's rolling forward.
Hmm.
So this is basically just a uniform file that cuts the edge off of things, and it does a beautiful job. So I use them for, you know, little ends of stone setting prongs and all the things that I just showed you.
Can you use a cupper on a prong like that
Yeah,
with setting the stone, like right over the stone?
yeah, because the sides of the cup burrs are smooth. They don't have any teeth on them. So for stones that, you know, especially stones that are a little harder, like, you know, quartzes and things like that, quartzes and harder, I'm not at all worried about setting my cup burr up against the stone and rounding the end of the wire. And I usually do that before I push the end of the wire all the way down, or
Mm,
before the
smart. You
stone's
have a
even
little bit
in
of a
there.
space. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
or
Yeah.
before the stone's even in place, you know, if you're worried about it, especially if it's a softer stone, because you don't want to break it, you know. But yeah, you know, I'm never worried about doing that for my prongs. That always works great. But this is the thing, this is my secret tip, and I love this. So when I do little like patinaed pieces and use my cup burr on the end of it, it gives it a white or that silver pop on the end of the wire because it removes, like takes back the material where the patina is. So the ends of my patinaed pieces have a finished silver edge. So so it just pops it right up, rounds that edge over, and looks fantastic.
Nice.
So I like using it on my patinaed pieces that are yeah, like my cuttlefish hoops and things like that. So like these, boop, have
Boop.
they're like a black cuttlefish hoop. There they
I
are.
think I
You
have
can
a
see.
pair of those.
Yeah, I think you do. So they have like a
I
little
love
texture on
them.
them, but the ends of the wire are finished in silver. So it just gives it a little visual weight, a little pop and
Hmm.
contrast, and like that. But yes, so that's one of the things that several of the things that I really like using cuppers for. I mean, there's so much stuff you can use them for, and I think a lot of times
Even
people
if there
get,
weren't, even if the only thing they were good for was rounding the ends of ear wires,
oh my God,
you
the
know,
time it
that
saves.
would be
Yeah,
enough,
yeah,
right? If they
absolutely,
did that efficiently and well, and that's the only job they do, I would still want them in my studio because
absolutely.
I don't want to have to file the ends of the ear wire.
Oh yeah, and I usually have, like, these are the twin cut set that I've got, but I've also got you know, additional, just the standard ones that I like, and you can, like I said, get a set of the bigger ones that are great if you're doing a lot of tube setting, because they just round the end of the tube beautifully. They just do such a great job, and for bigger balls as well. The other thing they're really great for is if you're making balled wire for like earrings and things, and you're trying to do it in sterling, sterling doesn't ball really well, and a lot of people get really
About like
frustrated.
you melting a ball onto the end of a wire. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
I do some for that too.
Yeah, on silver does a great job, but copper and copper, brass, sterling do not ball well. You have to add a lot of flux and keep dipping the flux, and people don't do that, and then they have this like wrinkled little raisin on the end of their wire.
Even if you use flux, though, it has to do with my understanding is it has to do with the alloy. That fine silver, because it's pure silver, you'll get that beautiful sheen and it'll be perfectly smooth. But then the ear wire is fine silver, and so then it's too soft. So you can't. The way I get around that is I make balls out of fine silver and then I solder sterling ear wire onto them.
Sure.
Which is a giant pain in the ass. And then
you can do it. You can do it with sterling. It's just like I said. I usually have liquid flux.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can melt it, but then it'll have that sort of raisin-y wrinkle.
It doesn't raisin. What the trick is, Julia, this is great. So what you do is, as you're heating up the wire, you dip it, heat it, dip it, heat it, and you build up a really heavy layer of flux on the end of the wire.
Okay.
And then as the ball starts to melt, instead of taking it out of the heat immediately, remove it slowly along the heat path, and it maintains its shape better.
So is it basically encased in a little jacket of glass of the flux? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, and because you're removing it, the reason that it sort of wrinkles like that is because it's contracting at the alloy is contracting at different rates. So if you have it encased in flux glass and you remove it a little more slowly, it kind of tempers it as you're pulling it away and allows it to cool a little more slowly as you're removing it. So instead of just sort of heating the ball and taking it away quickly, if your torch is like here, you sort of heat the ball and move it along the heat path a little more slowly. So yeah,
but
it's great for rivets.
If you don't, if you're not as adept, balls, and you get some that are a bit wrinkly, then the solution to the wrinkles is a cut burr.
Exactly right. So you just round that little wrinkly ball back.
Round that sucker right off.
Yeah. Oh, shout out to Kyle and all the students down in
shout out to your sister. There's your sister, Leslie.
Shout out to Leslie. Hello. Yeah, so anyway, I'm really excited about my cut burrs. And like I said, the twin cuts are a game changer if you're doing a lot. The other thing I would say is that if you have a set of cut burrs, you can buy individual burrs to replace the ones that you use often. And you do want to use a good lubricant like the Burr Life or the Blade Butter to make every time you're doing it, to make sure that, and you can feel it if it gets a little dry, but if they get clogged, you can kind of take a needle and brush them out, or a little brush and brush them out. But as soon as they get dull and it just doesn't feel like it's cutting anymore, take it out and get a new one. So especially if you're doing a ton of them, because it just will be frustrating and take too much time. If they're heating up, they're done. It's just sad. So,
and there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than a dull, like a burr that's been burned out and it's dull, and you're just continuing to and it's like you're not doing anything with that, people. Yeah, and just throw it away.
You're basically
burrs are consumable.
Burnishing it down rather than cutting it.
Yeah, you're burnishing it down rather than cutting it.
Right. I do want to give a shout out to Corky at the Metalsmith Society. So yay, Metalsmith Society. We love them. And Corky just posted on her, go follow the Metalsmith Society, you guys. The exciting news that her book that she's been working on, Metalsmith's Guide to Jewelry Making, is now listed on Amazon. So she's got a wonderful new book out. It's pre-order right now, so when it comes out you can get it, and I immediately went over and I've got it pre-ordered, so I'm very excited. So congrats to Corky. I know she's been working on that really hard, and so hooray for that. And she's awesome. So we do really appreciate her and all the good work she does to share information with other jewelers and metalsmiths, and has created a wonderful community. So love her. So shout out. I think it's also International Women's Day. So
shout out to us.
Shout out, girls. Yay. Happy Women's Day. So there's that. The other thing, Julia, and I'm so glad you're here because I really wanted to share this with you. I recently dropped these, and I don't know what size they are. So I'm like, I was trying to get them organized, and I was like, I think they're 4s. I don't know. So I was like, here they are. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're loose. And I thought, oh, it's really good to have them like in a tube. Well, the tube hit the floor, and I was like, what the heck? So I don't know what size these are. I ended up putting them back in the bag and sort of setting them aside. And I ran across them yesterday, and I was like, darn it. So here's what I love. Boop, boop. It's a little blade organizer, and it's 3D printed from, this one's called Kerf. And I got mine from Peppy Tools, but I think you can get them from other places too. And I've got a little mixed bunch in here. So if you have some blades and you're not sure what size they are, Kyle, this one's for you because I know you probably got a ton of students that just put burrs back in places that you don't know what size they are, or who knows, drop the drawer and it's just like trying to sort them out. Oh my God. So New Concepts has 2 wonderful charts that you can use, and you can download these. These are stickers that you can get as well. And they have not only what blade size it is, but one's in millimeters, one's in inches. So it has what drill size you would need to use to make a hole big enough for that blade, first of all. Second of all, what gauge they're great at cutting. And most charts, that's what you're looking at and what you want to know. The thing that you're not usually looking at is the width of the blade. So this tells me the width of the blade in inches, decimals, which I prefer, which is on the back side of your B&S gauge. So you can take your saw blades that are mystery blades. You're like, I don't know how big it is. And if you're trying to get them all put back away or organized, you can find how wide they are, basically here. So that one is about 0.015 inches. And that tells me that this one is it is a 4, indeed. So I thought they were 4s, and that's what that is. So then I can reload it back into my saw blade organizer, and I know what size they are. Ta-da! So,
ta-da! That's brilliant.
Yeah. So I really like these kinds of reference charts because they do have...
Shout out to New Concepts for putting them together. And like
Absolutely.
You said, if you order anything from them, you just ask them for the stickers and they'll send them to you.
Yeah.
But you can also just go and download them. And those stickers, they're a little bit small. So I printed it out.
Oh yeah, you blew yours up.
I just printed mine because I'm old and I can't see anything.
Yes.
So I just printed mine out a little bit bigger, and I printed it out. It's on one page, and I just folded it in half and glued it together. So yeah, one side is in millimeters and one side is in inches.
Yeah.
And as you said, there's a ton of information on
with those high school students that drop all those blades and they're like, I don't know what blade it is. Go, okay, go look at the chart and go measure it and put it away.
Put it where it belongs.
Put it back where it belongs.
Put it back where it belongs. Your mother tried to teach you this, and we're going to keep trying.
The other thing in that bag of drop blades that I had, I've kept this because it just was an anomaly. It's a saw blade without any teeth. I got a pack of saw blades that didn't have any teeth. None. It's smooth as a baby's butt. It's just slick wire. And I'm like, it's a gazillion O blade is what it is. The teeth are so fine you can't even feel them. But no, I thought that was crazy. So I have a little saw blade that has no teeth. But anyway.
someday you're gonna need that for something.
That's why.
And you're going to be like, damn it, where did I put those saw blades that didn't have teeth on them? Because I want to use them to burnish something or
burnish an edge or up where it doesn't have teeth and it's not biting on something. I don't know. Anyway, so there's that. But also too, what else news-wise? I do want to give a shout out to one of our community friends, Anna Peck, who is here in Seattle, who I really like a lot. She's incredibly talented, and does, you know, really cool glass jewelry and costumes, and she's just an amazing artist. And a lot of her family is from Ukraine, and so she had posted something on her site that had mentioned that her family is they all immigrated to the U.S., but they have extended family that was in Ukraine, and I just want to give a shout out to those people and say, yeah,
Oh.
yeah, big hearts, and thinking about you, and yeah, good luck, man. Take care, but otherwise, you know, it's hard when stuff like that's happening, and I do want to. I don't want to like make light and post things without sort of mentioning that too, because I know there's a lot of people that are really concerned about it. So, yeah. Anyway, shout out, sending love. Anywho, that's all I can think of today. What classes have you got coming up? Speaking of news.
Well, I just finished this past Saturday. I just did Etch in a Bag.
Oh,
and
right.
You can see how shiny it is. You can see how reflective it is.
Yeah.
You can see yourself. Yeah, this was like, I don't know, 20 minutes in the etch. And one of the things that's so cool about Etch in a Bag is how smooth. This is the etched area, right?
Yeah.
This area around here is etched.
Right.
And yeah, so it's like the areas that are etched are really smooth with the chemical etching. With the electro etching, it's a much more violent process, you know, really at the atomic level, you know.
Right.
And so you get a toothier result, like you get more of a texture where it's been etched away. They both have wonderful aspects of them, and this is one of the things I talk about in the class, is that, you know, part of what you need to do is figure out like which texture and which process is going to work for what you want to do. And the chemical etching has its advantages and disadvantages. The chemical gets used up, but it leaves this really nice surface if you do it this way, right? Sometimes you can get streaks and stuff. But anyway, I was just really happy with how this came out. It worked really well. It's a demo, you know.
Is that nickel, silver? Or
no, this is brass. This is brass. And I cleaned it with Brasso, and that made it really, really pretty. But the class was full, and there were people who were like, and I'm like, it's okay. So we're going to run it again in, I think it's June. It's coming up. Let's see. Yeah, June 11th. So it's not right away. I didn't want to do it like right on top. Yeah, Kyle's saying I'll jump on the next round for sure. I had a teacher from the Chicago area in my class who wants to do it. I think she's an art teacher, and she wants to do it with a group of students. And you know, there are issues that you have to be careful of when you're using chemicals around students, but it's a pretty low tech method, so it is a fairly approachable method for a school situation.
Well, it gives them something
and there's
to
so
do
many,
with their hands for
as Helen said,
minutes.
there's so many resist options for ferric chloride, which is great.
So, yeah, absolutely.
And actually, that's the class I'm planning, which isn't on the schedule yet, which is a like etching resist roundup class. But you know, you heard it here, but we haven't got it up yet. So you were asking what's coming up.
So I've got sawing and piercing demystified. So
that
saw blades.
But more importantly is your production class is coming up.
Yes,
and that's starting.
I don't know that it's more important, but yes, it is coming up as
well.
It
is because it's, you know, it is. Anyway. And Kyle's like,
we do have a lot of people that are at all different levels. And the thing that I have gotten a really big kick out of in that class is that, first of all, we have people of all levels that are sharing information from what they do, and learning from all levels.
And from each other.
And from each other. It's a great way to be able to take your work, distill it down, and make something that is that's yours, but is distilled down to something that you could reproduce a little more easily. And tips on things like technical stuff, yes, but also design stuff, so that so many people have like, they've got all these ideas and you want to get it all into one piece. Sometimes you just need to sort of simplify it down. And that way, if you want to do things like shows or sell multiple pieces or work in series, it makes it a little bit easier to sort of sort out your ideas. And so there's, it's not necessarily about just producing stuff as fast and hard as you can, although that's, you know, a part of production too. That's how you know, make money. But we are going to talk about some of the business side of production, about, you know, designing for production, working with, you know, people to outsource different parts of your labor to, and just, yeah, working smarter, not harder, so that you can do the stuff that you enjoy, so you don't get burned out, you know, trying to produce the same piece over and over and over again, or get frustrated because you can't produce it, you don't know how. So that's one of the things I know, that people will stop making stuff that they really enjoy because it's just too much labor, you know. So that's going to be starting April 9th, so next week. You've got Make Your Mark.
So let me say,
stamps.
before you stop talking about the design thing, that all of the stuff you just said is super important.
Yeah.
But there's another piece, which is the human piece of that. And it's like, there is something about the joy I get from brainstorming a solution to a problem, because it's never just one way to solve something.
Right.
And so having a group of people who are all kind of on your wavelength in terms of looking at the problem from all the different angles and like,
and solving
you know,
it objectively.
Right, and you know, and they're not invested in the particular design too, which is actually really good, because then sometimes they can pull you out of being like too precious about some particular thing. But having that, that's one of my favorite parts of both the Sparks class and then your design class, is just that process of talking with other people about how they would do it. And just coming up with, you know, running the thought experiment of, well, you could do it like this, and then actually going and trying it and seeing if it works. Sometimes it works.
Well, and just having other people you can bounce ideas off of, you know, it's just
exactly. It's
so helpful.
It's one of the reasons we're such good friends, because I, like, you know, can do that with you.
Right.
So well, I've got stamps and punches coming up, and file work rings coming up.
Now, you know, the file work, let me just say this, because those people that do knife blades, like my husband and Big Red, RDC, those people do a lot of really beautiful chip work on the edge of the knives. That is
on the spines of the knives.
Yeah. So this beautiful file work. And I was showing my husband the file work that you were doing, getting things like a bat design on that edge, and he was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And it's so perfect. And I said, yes, Julia can show you how to do that. So for people that do knife work or want to do file work on the edge of anything, whether it's, you know, like that.
You can do it on a heavy bezel. I mean, it's just another way to decorate the edge of something. Yeah.
But having a project that you can do it on makes it a little bit easier, so you don't have to, like, you know, come up with that too. But the file work, being able to repeat that design in a way that looks beautiful, and the bat one, if you guys haven't seen this, check out the file work image that is on the website, because it's one of them is like a beautiful little, like,
it's like an S. It's like the S
like
curve.
An S. But the bat, it just blows my mind.
Well, you know, I had to figure out if I could do a bat. I will also, in that class, so the first day of that class is we'll talk about how to make a heavy band ring, because you have to make a fairly heavy ring to have some meat to work with, to file on. And that can be a little tricky because you want to bend it in a way that you don't leave a lot of marks and, you know, mess it up in the process. So we're going to do that. And it's a 2-day, it's a 4-hour class, but it's 2 hours on one day and 2 hours on the next day. So the first day is like, you know, the making the rings, and then we'll talk about a bunch of the file work designs. And then the second day, I'm going to actually demo it. But I also will show you how to you know, like, divide up on a round thing, how to divide up so you get an even number of whatever.
Or even if it's on a flat thing. I mean, it's just, you still have to divide it up. But
you do. A round thing,
you're working like
if it's already round, presents a different set of problems. You know.
So yeah.
I think somebody just ordered your production design class.
Oh,
I think I saw that
fantastic.
pop up.
Yay! So the other thing that I'll say though is that seriously, if anybody's interested in doing like the file work on knives or rings, seriously, it's really good practice for
Hmm.
those people that are like files. I don't get them. You know, it's like seriously, take that. Michelle Lear has the
Yes, I'm
lacework.
so excited about this class. I'm really looking
That's
forward
sold
to this
out.
one.
That's sold out, but we're hoping, yay, that it goes well, and she's going to teach it again because it's sold out in 48 hours
Oh,
after
it
posting
sold.
it.
It wasn't
So
quite 48 hours, but it sold out at ease within 5 days.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and she's awesome. I've really enjoyed getting to know her a little
me
bit
too,
through this
me too.
process.
She is
I mean,
delightful.
it's clear why she and Chris are such good friends. So I'm
Yes.
looking forward to this. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to. You're going to be her TA for that class, but I'm planning, if I can, to pop in. I think I
Yeah,
have a class that's like right after hers or something. So it's
yeah,
like I don't know how much I can be there,
yeah.
but I can always
And
watch
Chris
the video.
Anderson is going to be sitting in as well, so he's going to be
Right.
her.
You're gonna have
He's
all kinds
two
of
moderators for that
yeah.
class.
You're gonna have all
Um,
kinds of fabulous input in that class.
so Helen over in
I'm
London.
super
Hi,
excited
Helen.
about this one too.
She's got her memento mori and keepsakes using UV resin, and that is going to be awesome. So I'm very excited. Also, again, a husband who does knife work is very excited because he wants to inlay things in the scales of the knives. Using
So the resin class and the file work class actually work super, super well together because
great,
traditionally with the knives, you would do the file work on the spine of the knife. You would attach the sides of the handles to it,
mm-hmm.
and then you would put resin in to fill in the gap so that it would be all one thing. So file
Right,
work on knives traditionally was done flat. With a ring or bracelet, you have more 3D options.
right.
But those two
But
classes,
the memento mori class is going to be off the hook, man. Because one, it's going to be an amazing class because just being able to create little memories, and Helen's piece has a couple of different cat hairs in it that are
I love
beautiful.
the piece that she has on as the image
Yeah,
for the website with the little gold cat paw and the cat
yeah,
whiskers.
yeah. But using ashes, using fur, using just to create wonderful little memories, and using natural objects like bone
Mhm.
or teeth or flowers or whatever you want to use. You can do that with UV resin because it heats up fast, and so you don't have to wait for days to be able to layer your resin to get a real good three-dimensional sort of thing on it going
Mhm.
on. So bones, yeah. So you can sort of do a layer, add a thing, do a layer, cure it, add a thing, cure it, add a thing. So you can make it's stacked up and it's perfectly clear and things can kind of float. So that's going to be a great class. But the UV resin I'm particularly interested in because I've never been real happy with two-part curing.
Mhm.
It just takes so long and it's always never exactly the way I want it, and it kind of yellows, and the UV resin it's so much faster, and I just am real excited about that. So that's our March. That's March. What's coming up? So
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
then
that's March, and then
April's a Earth
we
month.
got a bunch of other stuff coming in. It's like
Yeah,
there's other classes in April and May and
June,
yeah, so
July.
June, right.
Yeah, they're all going to
We're
get
filling up
added.
the schedule pretty quickly.
Yeah. So we've got plans through August, I think, that are slowly but surely getting added to the calendar right now. So not right now because Helen is in bed, but in London. But
Oh, Kathleen asked about torch fired enamels. You want to tell them about our
yes,
studio play date?
yes. Tell her about our play date.
When are we doing it? When is it? What date is it? I forgot what day it is.
March.
Maybe Helen.
It was like the
It's
12th.
a Saturday. I know it's a Saturday. I'd have to look at the calendar.
Me
We're
too.
going to do, Kathleen, Jennifer and I are going to do another, like, she comes over here and we basically do it as a YouTube live, like just hang out with us in the studio kind of thing. We're doing
Yeah.
it free, right? It's a free thing. Isn't it free?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Zoom live to YouTube. So all three of us are going to be playing live. Helen in her London studio, me in Julia's studio, and
It's the 12th. It's the 12th of March.
12th.
I just checked
Yeah.
my calendar. So it's the
Yeah.
afternoon of Saturday, the 12th of March.
Yes. So yeah, so we can post that and get you guys to see just what we do when we play. And
We're just
have fun in the studio.
sort of, you know, cowgirl it and just
Yeah.
try stuff. We got some new fun tools.
March, yes. Yeah, Helen.
We got this, whoops, dropping things. We got this fun tool, which is the basket that you can use to set in the tripod. So you can put your enamels there, and it has a handle that attaches. It just screws on like so.
Or you could just set it on a surface, but it's like
or
a
you
little.
Can just set it on a surface, right. So it has that, so that's like that. And then the piece I dropped is this. So it's a 3-part set. I think we got these from Seattle Findings.
We did, yes. Yeah. And Seattle Findings has a discount for Little Metal Fox students.
Yes. So if you go on our website and look under resources, you'll find the discount for the discount code for Seattle Findings. So you can do this. So you can put it like that, like a firing fork. You can move it in and out of things and take this on and off. So all of this comes together as one thing. I think it was like $30 or something.
Right.
So we're gonna we didn't have this last time we played.
Yes.
And now this time, yes. Helen's like the fork is for kiln use, but it comes as a set, so you know you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah. So you've got
this time
a handle,
we'll be able to play
that just screws into the basket. You've got a fork that screws into the basket so you can load it into the kiln. And then you've got the basket by itself that can stand up on its own, or you can use it in a tripod. So that's our play date.
That's actually one of the advantages of this basket is that it has this ring on the bottom so that it will stand on its own, because there are some others that just kind of come to a point. So this is nice. So we will try it all the different ways.
Play date, March 12th. Torchfire enamels.
Join us.
Yeah.
You know what you can do if you don't want to try to put it on the calendar, just subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then the minute it goes live, you get an instantly get an email notification that we're live.
Right. We've also got we're planning a live interview with hopefully a couple of people, but we're going to be doing a live interview with Lori Talcott, and that is going to be
studio visit. So not just an interview, but we get to see inside her studio, which is such a beautiful space.
So, and Lori is an incredibly talented artist and is world famous for her granulation and her filigree and just
engraving. She's really a master craftsperson.
Absolutely. So we're going to be real happy to interview her coming up live.
But she's a lovely person.
I love her so much. So
she's a great person, and she's an amazing artist, right? It's like we get to go spend time in her studio with her, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, and I've sent her a list of questions, and people that want to sign up for the Zoom can send us questions directly, and we can talk about that and ask them to Lori directly, or you can watch it on YouTube. But signing up for YouTube is kind of nice because you get notifications when we've actually got things going on live, like play dates or interviews and bonus information and things like that. So that's always kind of nice to be able to see the live stuff. But yeah, check out the YouTube channel because all of our tool tips are there, and there's bonus content there as well. So
Yep. We keep adding stuff to it. Helen was like, you can put the tooltips there. We were like,
yes, please.
And she did. Then she put them all up there.
Yeah. So our YouTube channel, check it out. Anyway, all right, my friend.
All right.
I am very excited. 2 weeks play date, Torchfire Enamels at your place live. And so do join us for that. And so if you missed any part of our tool tips this evening, go and
watch it on YouTube.
On YouTube, or you can see all of them there or here on Instagram. So thanks a lot, and have a great night. And if you guys have any tool tips that you'd like us to do, DM us and let us know what they are, and we'll do it. So
yeah, you can always email us at info@littlemetalfoxes.com. We all see that, all of us. Or just a message through Instagram. You know, whatever floats your boat in terms of information. We try very hard to answer all of our fan mail, mail.
So happy March 1st.
Yes,
everybody.
March 1st.
Can't believe it. All right. So, all right, you guys, have a great night, and we'll see you next week for Tool Tip Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.